Hey everyone, I hope your week and your homework are going well. I got a question in regard to Chapter 3 homework, Question 3, and as the tools for myEcon lab can be a little bit finicky at first, I wanted to go ahead and walk through this problem in detail. So let's dive right in. Suppose that in a recent market period, an industry-wide survey determined the relationship between the price of pre-recorded movie DVDs and the quantity supplied and the quantity demanded, shown in the table below and depicted in the graph to the right. So here is the current quantity demanded, the current quantity supplied, and the applicable price of this current graph that we see over here. Suppose that the survey for a later market period indicates that the quantity supplied in the table are unchanged. So, knowing that the quantity supplied is unchanged, right away we can know this is a question that has nothing to do with our supply curve. But the quantity demanded has increased by 30 million units at each price. So if our quantity demanded has increased by 30 million units, before we even look at what the question wants us to do, we know what we're going to see is a rightward shift of our demand curve, looking like that. Using the multi-point curve drawing tool, draw and label the new demand curve for movie DVDs. Properly label this line. I think a lot of times when people have struggles with supply and demand, they actually get the concepts, they just don't quite understand how to use these Pearson graphing tools. They can be a little bit finicky. What Pearson is going to want us to do is to graph the new demand curve, which right now you can see it's D subscript 0. The new demand curve will be D subscript 1. And they're going to want us to use each one of these given prices for the new demand curve. So what I like to do is I'm going to grab here the multi-point curve tool like it tells me to do, and I'm going to go to the first price, which is price 19, and at D subscript 0 we should expect that to be at 100 million. Sure enough it is. We are going to go out 30 million, which is going to be the new increased quantity demanded at the point of $19. So we'll go out 1, 2, 3, and we'll draw our first point. Then we'll make a point for 20 because that is listed in the table. 21, 22, and finally 23. When you're done drawing your curve, you're going to go ahead and hit the exit key. It's then going to prompt us to add a label, and this label is going to be D subscript 2, which is going to show the later demand curve after the increase of 30 million units in price. Number 2, using the point drawing tool, indicate the new equilibrium point, label it E subscript 1. So here's our original equilibrium point. We know equilibrium is going to be where price and quantity for demand and supply are equal to each other. Or, graphically speaking, it's the point where they cross. So it's going to be this point right here. Going to go ahead and get our point tool, put it down, and label it E subscript 1. After we've done that, we'll go ahead and check our answer. Voila, we got it right. It's going to continue. Demand has increased. It's gone up. What is the new equilibrium price? So remember, price is going to be on the y-axis here, and it's labeled right there at $22. What is the new equilibrium quantity? Quantity is going to be on the x-axis here, labeled as output in this exercise. We labeled it in our lecture with just a Q, but the new quantity demanded is going to be 100 million units. An increase in the number of buyers. Well, yep, demand went up, which we remember demand is the consumer perspective. So we would expect an increase in the amount of buyers. Yep. Good. A decrease in the cost of production. Well, no, because the price went up. So there wasn't a decrease in the price of production. That would be a technology improvement, and that would be a shift in the supply curve. So we know that answer is going to be no. Consumer income decreases. Well, the price of DVDs is not going to affect the income of a regular consumer, so that is going to be no. And finally, the price of movie downloads rises. Yeah, we saw that. Price did go up, so we're going to go ahead and hit yes on that one. And we got it correct. The number of sellers increases. Well, if the number of sellers increases, that would have driven the price back down. An equilibrium price would have remained the same or have gone down. But in our case, the equilibrium price went up. So we know the number of sellers did not increase. So we'll hit no on that one. Awesome. So we got all of the answers right for that. If you have any questions in regard to the homework or in regard to these Pearson tools moving forward, feel free to let me know. Always happy to walk through an example or two. Thanks and have a great week.